Kyland, Xavier, I want to know about the moment when you left the house, okay, and there was a little dust up.
This is how the game goes,
No, of course. No, I'm just asking.
Yeah.
No, I thought like it was a whole challenger
I would have
thing,
loved to give you a heads up, but I respect you too much as a player.
If your nephew has nobody to look up to, that
Keep talking about my nephew, guys.
if your nephew has nobody to look up to, that is gonna figure out
Honestly,
how
like,
to raise him.
Kyland.
Julie's waiting on
Being
you.
a man.
Kyland,
Julie's waiting on you.
I need you to leave right now, Kyland.
Kyland, you explain.
Yeah, so it's so interesting because when you leave the house, you have no vision of what's the conversation inside. So like when I walked out, I literally was in my head like, he knows what I'm talking about, so like it's fine. And then afterwards, you get out of the house and you find out like, oh wait, this is seen as something that is extremely dramatic, extremely taken in a context of like a disrespectful angle. Because in that conversation, I even say, I'm like, when Xavier said like, hey, don't talk about his name, and I said, no, like that's not up to me, because I was referring to a conversation him and I had. In my head, I literally was like, oh, I'm just talking about a conversation him and I had. I see the audio, I'm like, yeah, he knows that I'm talking about that conversation. Not in terms of, because that conversation had nothing to do with X as a person, X as a player, his family, or anything like that. It was all very much like, this is what you and I had talked about in regards to that family member. That's what I was bringing up. So as far as when I left, I was like, yeah, like they'll understand what I was talking about. And then obviously, as I learned in the house, as I learned outside the house, sometimes when you say something and all of it's not heard or all of it's not understood, you don't have an opportunity. So like, I just felt bad because I was like, after I'm out of the house and learning from people, like, no, like this is how it was received, this is what was thought. I'm like, dang, I'm sorry. I was glad to hear that like my friends and family had already been in contact with his family and they were already hashing it together in peace. So that's all I've been looking forward to do for me and him, just to kind of make sure everybody knows that there was no disrespect. It was literally a reference.
Okay, you were good with that. Because it came back, I mean, the way it played out on TV, because we only see it on TV, I only saw it on TV, was like, keep my name out your mouth. That's what it was almost like.
I would say what he said and how I perceived it seemed to be two different things. And we've already discussed on finale night that we were going to sit down, just man to man, have a conversation, hopefully come to an understanding as to why what happened, maybe get some closure around what happened just to get some clarity, and then move forward in a positive way, because every single person sitting here was a part of history, and I wouldn't want any of that to be fractured because of a misunderstanding. You know, Kyland was a big part in all of us making it to the Final Six, as was Tiffany, as was Hannah, Azza, Big D, and myself. We all had a part in making history, and this is a bond that's going to last us a lifetime, and I wouldn't want anything like that to be fractured without at least having some type of conversation. So we've already discussed we're going to sit down, chat as men, and hopefully move forward positively.